In today's session of AWP, we are going to solve some of the problems. Okay, based on the derivations or formulas that we have already derived on the gain of the antenna, directivity of the antenna, radiation resistance of an antenna. Okay, based on that we try to solve the problems. Now please take down the problem, right? Please keep a notes and try to practice all these formulas and write down all these formulas aside for solving the problems. So only one problematic thing is that here is sometimes is asking about problems which contains a bigger formulas. So better you try to remember around 3 to 4 formulas which are very important for the end examinations. So here is the one such problem here where we have to remember certain formulas which are very important to remember. The most unfortunate thing in the exam is that he is asking this question for 5 marks sometimes. If he is going to ask for 5 marks, you cannot write this at a length of 4 to 5 pages. So you have to wind up this question by 1.5 page maximum. Therefore, you should try to remember certain formulas. So one is such problem is here, very repeated problem in the examination. So take down the problem now. Find the radiation resistance for a half wave dipole. Find the radiation resistance for a half wave dipole antenna or half wave dipole. Find the radiation resistance. What is the question that is asking for? He is asking to find out the radiation resistance for a half wave dipole. So which is known as R suffix R, which is known as the radiation resistance for a half wave dipole. What is a dipole antenna? Dipole antenna construction is something like this. It is going to have 2 poles. One is going to be positive and the one is going to be negative, and antenna is normally going to radiate if theta is going to be a variable component. We know that theta is going to vary between 0 to 180 degrees. So therefore, as this radiation with some directivity is normally going to vary with respect to theta, we consider theta as a variable component here for getting into the radiation resistance of an antenna, right? So to find out radiation resistance of an antenna, we just first of all go with the average power, okay, and next we will find out the radiation resistance, power radiated by a transmitting antenna, which is nothing but equal to the integration of the average power from the surface area, from a incremental surface area. So using this formula we normally going to find out the radiation resistance of an antenna. So first of all we solve this, then we equate this to the radiation resistance of an antenna. See, if at all you want to include the radiation resistance, now the power radiated, another formula for power radiated is normally equal to IRMS square into RR. So in terms of the radiation resistance, we can equate this as IRMS square into RR, so which is nothing but the I square R loss, I square R power, so which is nothing but the power radiated by the transmitting antenna. So that means what here, this RR is something like an imaginary component. Physically RR is not going to be there physically, but imaginary component it is totally. It is something like the H parameters in the amplifiers. So what do you mean by H parameters? H parameters are all imaginary components. Here also similarly RR is going to be an imaginary component, but it plays a important role as far as radiation of EM waves are concerned. So therefore we go with this formula. So now here we will be having 2 formulas, say formula 1, formula 2. What we will do now, we simply equate these 2 formula. Once we solve this equation in terms of IRMS square, so we have to solve this equation 1 in terms of IRMS square. So once we solve in terms of IRMS square, we can directly get the value for RR from this particular equation 1. So therefore our objective now is to solve this equation in terms of IRMS square. So now the power radiated by a transmitting antenna or by a dipole antenna, whatever is given to us. Now what is this dipole antenna? This dipole antenna is a half wave dipole antenna. What is the problem statement given to us? Find out the radiation resistance for a half wave dipole. What is half wave? L is nothing but equal to lambda by 2. If L is equal to lambda by 2, this particular antenna is going to be known as a half wave dipole antenna. So therefore you have to find out the radiation resistance of this particular half wave dipole antenna. So in order to find out that, first of all we will try to get into the formula for the power radiated. So the power radiated is equal to, what is that we can write now? The surface integral, that means we are considering a surface. See here, this is the surface that I can just simply consider an incremental surface area called ds. A differential surface area I am going to consider. So through this surface area, how much is the power which has been radiated? So that is the formula I am writing it here. So that means I am writing the formula for power radiation is equal to the integration of the average power over a infinitesimal or over a small amount of surface area. So over a surface area, I am going to find out the power radiated by applying the integration. What is integration? Closed loop. That means closed loop means what? This entire closed path, I am going to find out the power radiated. So to find out power radiated for a closed loop circuit, we simply put this symbol, closed loop symbol. So by putting this closed loop means what? We are finding out the power radiated over this particular surface area, So now that is what we are finding out. Now here what we can write this as P average into what is ds? It is a differential surface area. So this we can write as equal to r sin theta d theta d phi. So from the EMTL we can write, we have studied from the coordinate systems, spherical coordinate systems, that the ds can be written directly as equal to r sin theta d theta d phi. So this also you should compulsorily know, the ds, the incremental surface area or differential surface area is equal to r sin theta d theta d phi. So this also we have to understand compulsorily, we should know beforehand to solve this particular problem. Okay. Now what we will do now here, what is that which is given to us? We have to find out P average. What is P average? P average is nothing but equal to, for P average will come from the beginning. So the maximum power density is equal to E cross H. How I have written this particular E cross H? I have written this E cross H from the Poynting vector or from the Poynting theorem. So Poynting theorem says that the maximum power density is equal to E cross H. So based on that I am writing this. Now I am considering that the electric field which is most predominant for us. So this electric field is along the theta direction. If electric field is theta direction, what should be the direction of the magnetic field? It should be transverse to this or perpendicular to this. So therefore I consider the phi direction. So I will consider E theta and H phi. Now here the thing is that you should remember these two formulas. These two formulas are very, very important for E theta and H phi. Okay, E theta derivation, H theta, H phi derivation is a very big derivation for us. It takes around 3 to 4 pages for the derivation only. But in the examination what he is doing is, he is directly asking the problem to solve for 5 marks or 6 marks. So in that case, you cannot really derive, you cannot waste your time in the exam for getting into these two equations. So better, what I suggest is, better you remember these two equations. If you don't remember, it will be very difficult to solve this particular problem. So therefore try to practice these equations many times in your notes, okay, so that you can able to remember the formulas. Okay, now what is the formula for E theta? We have written here 60 Im by R. What is Im? Im is the maximum current. Now what is it? What do you understand by maximum current and RMS current? See, for example, if you have a signal like this, a sine wave signal is like this. Now this peak, full peak is nothing but is equal to Im, peak current or maximum current. Single peak current is known as Im. What about IRMS? IRMS is going to be the root mean square value of the current. That means if the signal is totally periodic signal, then we can find out the power, the current which is going to be there for this entire signal, because signal is varying. Now how can I say the value of the signal? By using RMS, rated values. So we always have to provide the current in terms of rated values as far as AC signals are concerned. So IRMS is known as the rated current for us. So this rated current is nothing but this IRMS current, okay, or something like a current which is something less than the maximum current, but this current is taken as uniform, constant throughout the time period of the signal, right? So this is called IRMS signal under consideration, right? So that is what called, that is the difference between IM current and the IRMS current. So don't confuse, same electrical terminology we are going to use, because RR is the resistance, electrical resistance only. So that is the reason why we simply apply the circuit analogy to this particular antennas and wave propagations. Okay, right. Now the maximum power from Poynting theorem, I can write E cross H. This I can write from Poynting theorem. This I can write from Poynting theorem. So from Poynting theorem I can write this particular equation. Now I am assuming that the wave is propagating mostly in the theta direction, so therefore E theta into H phi. Now E theta formula is going to be 60 Im by R cos of pi by 2 cos theta whole by sin theta. The direction of this electric field is theta, therefore I will write this with the unit vector A theta. Then H phi, this cos component, this numerator denominator component remains same, that is cos of pi by 2 cos theta by sin theta. This remains same for both. Okay, so that means if you remember one equation, you can remember the other equation very easily. And here in this part we have to remember that Im by 2 pi r. You have to remember Im by 2 pi r. So this is the equation for E theta and H phi. Simply substitute these two for the average power. Now how we get the average power? What is average power? Average power is equal to, this is something like the Im. It is something like if you write the equation for power. What is the equation for power? P is equal to V into I. Okay, Vm into Im will write. So what is Vm? I want to get a RMS value. So to get RMS value I can simply write Vm by root 2 and I will write Im by root 2. Similar to this, what we do now here is, here also we want to find out the average value, which is going to be the RMS related value. Therefore I will write E theta by root 2 H phi by root 2. So therefore this becomes equal to 1 by 2, root 2 becomes 2. Therefore 1 by 2 E theta H phi is the basic formula for the average power that we can really have. Now once after this we have to get the value for this equation 1 in terms of the IRMS. So once you get, now the equation becomes simple for us. Now let us start working with this now. So WR is equal to, what I can write now, this is a surface integral. Surface integral for what now? R is taken as constant. See this R, this is what the direction, that is direction. Now R, this is called R for me. Now imagine that the antenna is going to radiate it along the axial direction. When the antenna is radiating the signal along axial direction, we will keep this R as constant. Only two parameters will be there for us. One is going to be theta, another one is going to be the phi. So phi we consider uniformly varying, R is going to be the fixed one. R is going to be the fixed one. So by considering that, we can represent this with a surface integral with phi is equal to 0 to 2 pi and theta is equal to 0 to pi. Average power is equal to, this is 1 by 2 E theta H phi we can have into ds. What is ds I am going to have now? R sin theta d theta d phi. So this is what the overall power radiated from an antenna, from a dipole antenna. Okay. Now this what I can write now, omega r is equal to, this phi axis is totally uniform for us. Therefore, I will separate these two integrations. How I separate? 0 to 2 pi d phi integration theta is equal to 0 to pi. So 1 by 2 is a constant, I will take it outside, right? E theta H phi r sin theta d theta. So this is the equation I normally going to get. Now once if I get this equation, what is that I will be having here now? What is that I will be having here? How do I solve this? What is integration of d theta over the limits 0 to 2 pi? It's going to be simply 2 pi only. Okay. Now how do we solve this equation now? What is integration of d phi? We know that integration of d phi is totally uniform now. So therefore the limits we apply in upper limits 2 pi minus 0. Therefore we normally going to get that as 2 pi only for the integral 0 to for integral phi is equal to 0 to 2 pi. Okay. Now that means we can replace integration of d phi. Integration of d phi ranging between phi is equal to 0 to 2 pi is nothing but equal to 2 pi for us. Then by substituting that is equal to 2 pi, we have to solve for the equation by substituting E theta and H phi, okay, in the last equation that we have got here, right? Now we will solve that. Now while solving the equation, how is that we are going to solve now? The radiated power is equal to what we can write now? This 2 pi is actually we have represented for integration for d phi. Okay, d phi is going to vary between 0 to 2 pi. So therefore 2 pi minus 0, we got 2 pi here for integration for 0 to 2 pi. For phi integration we got 2 pi here. And into 1 by 2. 1 by 2 is what? This is going to be the average value. So 1 by 2 is the average value. For average value we get 1 by 2 times the maximum power. So maximum power is E theta into H phi is the maximum power. So E theta H phi into R square sin theta d theta we have got. So what happened to d phi? D phi we have got it for 2 pi. So these two will get cancelled. I will be getting the equation now as pi into integration of theta is equal to 0 to pi. And for E theta, what is E theta equation we have just given you in the previous slide? That is 60 Im by r cos of pi by 2 cos theta by sin theta, Im by 2 pi r, Im by 2 pi into r, that is, okay, cos of pi by 2 cos theta by sin theta, and the differential area is going to be equal to r square sin theta d theta. Alright. So now when you get this equation now, what are the things which will really going to vanish? Let us see now. Here 60 by 2 becomes 30. Then here r into r is r square. This r square will vanish with this r square. Sin theta is going to get vanished here. Then finally left over with 30 Im square by this pi is here. I just put pi over here. And this is something like cos theta. This is something like cos theta. Cos theta into cos theta is cos square theta. So I have written this in the form of cos square theta, cos square of pi by 2 cos theta by I left over with sin theta into d theta. Now this Im, what is Im actually? Im I have written as in terms of the RMS value. Okay. So what is that equation that we have already we already know that Im is equal to IRMS, or I can just say IRMS is equal to Im by root 2. That is the basic formula we have. This is the basic formula to get the RMS value. So from this Im is equal to IRMS into root 2. So I write this as Im is equal to that is root 2 times IRMS whole square. Rest of things as it is. The next day I am going to have now what? This is root 2 whole square means 2. 2 into 30, that is 60. IRMS square integration of cos square theta by sin theta form into d theta. Okay. So that is the equation we get. Now further by solving this equation, what we can write this as now? This is in the form of cos square theta. What is cos square theta equation? 1 plus cos square theta by 2. So I will write in the same format now, 1 plus cos 2 theta by 2. Okay, theta value what I have now, pi by 2 cos theta I have. So therefore I can write it like this. So these two will get cancelled. So finally I will be getting here as integral 1 by 2 of integral 1 plus cos of pi by 2 cos theta by sin theta. So that is the equation, and this entire equation now I can write as something like I. Now this equation is a very complex equation. So this complex equation can be solved by using a numerical integration method. So using numerical integration method we can solve this I. So in the next class I will be solving for both. I will be solving for the E theta H phi, and I will be solving with the numerical method to solve for this particular I value. Okay. So why? Because for a problem, whenever problem is given like this for 5 marks or 6 marks, so try to remember the things, because it is going to be fixed mechanical definition here. So you will be getting the radiation resistance value as always 73 ohms. So for that we are proceeding further for the dipole antenna. So now this I can replace it is equal to I. So by solving this particular equation for I using numerical integration method, we will be getting the value as 1.219. This is important, 1.219. Now earlier we have got this equation as 1. Second equation is going to be what now? it is going to be the radiated power in terms of the radiation resistance. So therefore that equation 2 written as IRMS square into RR, okay, is equal to this one, that is going to be 60 into 1.29 IRMS square. So these two will get cancelled. Finally I am getting RR. This RR would be coming as going to be 73 volts. So the radiation resistance of a half wave dipole will be equal to 73 ohms. That is a very important conclusion here. In order to radiate the dipole antenna more effectively, the radiation resistance should be maintained equal to 73 ohms. Now next we will go with the next problem now after completion of this problem, right, which is also going to be based on the formulas whatever that we have discussed until now. Take down the next problem. Calculate the power gain of a half wave dipole. Calculate the power gain. Calculate the power gain of a half wave dipole. Whose ohmic losses and directive gain are 7 ohms and 1.64 and 1.64. I will repeat the problem once again. Calculate the power gain, that is gain of the antenna you have to calculate, of a half wave dipole whose ohmic losses and directive gain are 7 ohms and 1.64. Okay. So first of all write down the given data. Whatever the given data in the problem. What is given now? He has given the ohmic loss. Ohmic loss means loss across the load resistance RL. Okay, so RL is equal to 7 ohms he has given. Next is what now? Next is what he has given? Ohmic loss and directivity gain. Directivity he has given as 1.64. D is equal to 1.64. What is that he is asking us to find out? The power gain, that is gain of the antenna is asking us to find out. That is called G. So just now to solve this, we should look into the formula for gain, right? We already defined the formula for gain in the earlier classes. So what is the formula for gain? Gain is equal to eta into D, where eta is the antenna effective efficiency. So therefore this eta is nothing but equal to RR by RR plus RL. So this is what given into G into D. D is called directivity. G is the gain of the antenna. This is nothing but power gain. So the power gain G is equal to RR by RR plus RL into D. What is given now? D is given. 1.64 is given. Next one is ohmic losses has been given. Ohmic losses. So RL is nothing but ohmic losses. It comes under ohmic losses. It is given as equal to 7 ohms. Now what is unknown here? We have to find out G. What is unknown? RR is unknown. What is RR? Radiation resistance of an antenna. Now what type of antenna is asking for? Half wave dipole. Just now we derived the expression for half wave dipole. So we know, simply write down, we know the RR for half wave dipole. Half wave dipole, lambda by 2 dipole is nothing but equal to 73 ohms. This is what the equation we have. Now simply substitute all these values here. G is equal to 73 by 73 plus 7 into 1.64. So with this we are not only going to get the gain of the power gain of the antenna. So 1.4965. So this is the value we are going to get for the power gain of the antenna. Okay. Then after this we will try to solve one more problem. Okay. We will try to solve one more problem. Please take down that problem also. If the power density due to a point source, we will discuss about point source in the later stage, but presently think that it is a point source. Okay. Point source. Okay. Now if the power density due to the point source in a free space at a distance of 25 kilometers is 100 microwatts per meter square. If the power density due to the point source in free space at a distance of 25 kilometers, at a distance of 25 kilometers is 100 microwatts per meter square. So what is given here? The distance between the two antennas 25 kilometers is given, and what is given now? Power density is given 100 microwatts per meter square. Then what is the power density if the distance is doubled? Okay, what is the power density if the distance is doubled? Right, if the distance is doubled, what is the power density? And next, if the distance is halved, what is the power density? That is what the problem given to us. So please note down the data now, given data. What is the given data? Is given data for 25 kilometers. The power density is going to be 100 microwatts. So now we will be working with the third problem, where the data is given as the distance between the two antennas is equal to 25 kilometers, and when point sources are really considered for a transmitting antenna and receiving antenna. So the distance between the two antennas is 25 kilo ohms. Power density is equal to 100 microwatts per meter square. We have already the formula for power density. Power density is equal to the total power transmitted by the antenna by 4 pi r square. That is nothing but area of the sphere. So that means from total power, if you simply divide it by area of the sphere, then normally what we are going to get? We are going to get the power density. So power density means what? Highly concentrated signal or a particular power, or highly concentrated power, highly concentrated power, or highly concentrated strength of a signal is nothing but the density basically. So the density is equal to total power by the 4 pi r square we can write. So this is the formula we have. Now from this formula, find out first of all the total power transmitted. So total power transmitted is nothing but equal to what now? Power density into 4 pi r square. Already these parameters are given to us. R is given as 25 kilometers. What do you mean by R? You normally going to have a antenna like this. So you are going to have a transmitter section. This is a transmitting antenna. Imagine there is a receiving antenna like this. You are normally going to have a receiver. You are going to have a transmitter like this. Now the distance between these two is nothing but equal to R for us. So this R is given as equal to 25 kilometers, and power density is equal to 100 microwatts per meter square. So from this, what you will do is you calculate the total transmitted power. Now what has been asked for? He is asking to find out the power density, when the distance between the two antennas is doubled and halved. When the distance is doubled, means what? R becomes equal to 2R. So therefore in the formula you simply substitute for R 2R and find out the power density PD. Then next is distance is halved. When distance is halved, simply R by 2, R is given to us. You can straight away going to get the power density values. So you please do these two for yourself in the house and take this as a homework, and please complete that homework in the house. Okay. So with this we end up our session, okay, of doing some of the problems which are very, very important for the examination point of view. Okay. We will stop here for today's session, and the next session we will straight away go with the once again half wave dipole, deriving the expressions for E theta and H phi values. Thank you very much for today's session.